says as he tries to find the button. And good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to Nerd Week Live here on YouTube, brought to you by the folks at Nerd Caliber. Sorry for the delay, technical issues. Skype was not our friend tonight. But let me introduce myself. I'm Rodney Brown. I'm the editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. I am a first-person shooter as a cosplay photographer on that there Facebook, Burly Adopter on Twitter and a couple other places. And joining us tonight from the lovely curtained studio, if you would, madam.
Hello, I'm Gogo Incognito. I have been with Nerd Caliber for a few years. I love it. I'm excited to be here as much as I can. You can find me on the internet at Gogo Incognito. That's all you need to know. Look up Gogo Incognito. I just got to Nashville from Mobile. Going to Canada soon. See me travel. Come find me at Gogo Incognito.
Awesome. And the person who is trying to press his beard into his own camera, please introduce yourself.
Sorry about that. I was turning on my light, but it's already bright enough in here, and that would just wash out my otherwise already musician pale complexion. Hi, everybody. Greg Snyder, a.k.a. Wonderlama Photography and/or Cosplay, associate editor with Nerd Caliber, and sometime Rodney Brown doppelganger. You may have seen me cosplaying Rodney in one of my more what's the word I'm looking for? Fun-loving cosplay outings. Yeah, welcome. Hi.
So, folks, also welcome Sarah. Welcome Sarahi. Welcome Hang. Welcome Inti. Welcome Kaiden. And glad you all could join us. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do a little bit of self-promotion. I don't know if any of you already on the chat or watching us on YouTube right now are going to PAX East. It's coming up this weekend here in Boston. Well, some of us are in Boston, the greater Boston area. Some of us are not. Some of us are in the Keystone State. Actually, no, not the Keystone State. I got the state wrong. What is the official
Isn't that
state?
Pennsylvania?
Yeah, it is Pennsylvania. Gogo, what's the official state motto there?
Oh, in Tennessee?
Yeah. It's okay, it's the something state.
Volunteer state.
The volunteer state, that's right.
Oh, that no, but I know because I'm in Nashville. I know it's Music City.
Well, that's true.
There we go.
We'll just call it the Jack Daniels state. All right. But if you are coming to PAX East, what we have coming up at PAX East is a panel that is also a participatory event, and it is that just appeared on your screens, the Cosplay and Photography Shootout Video Game Edition. So if you are a cosplayer, pew pew disco pistols, or a photographer, or somebody who just likes to watch people do this in an amazing way, come to the Bobcat Theater, 8 p.m. Friday evening. What we do is we randomly, through drawing out of hats, pair one cosplayer with one photographer. We have a bunch of topics which we let the audience vote on, and then we send those teams out into the greater Boston Convention and Exhibition Center to make the best image they can possibly make in 45 minutes. And
that's in line with the theme we're coming up with.
Yes.
That everyone's going to vote on. And since it's PAX, we're doing video game edition. So the themes that we'll vote on will give the crowd 2, maybe 3 choices. They will be video game related, which isn't to say that if you're cosplaying Aquaman, you can't do something that the theme might be video game related. Don't hesitate to come if you're in a not video related cosplay of any sort. But anyway, go on, Rodney. Sorry to interrupt.
No, that's quite all right. And you come back. We have an amazing panel that's going to critique the images from both the standpoint of photographic, lighting, composition, and so on, and adherence to the theme. That panel is the gentleman with the blue underbeardo right below me on the screen, Mr. Wonderlama Photography. Myself, I've already said, first-person shooter. The wonderful Bethany Maddock, you may know her as NetherRealm's official Scorpion for the release announcement of MK11. if you watch that out in Vegas. And one of the most amazing East Coast cosplay photographers out there, Kayhetan Elysium, Elysium Entertainment, hashtag premium content, as he likes to say. So, if you're going to be at PAX East and you want to participate or you just want to watch it, come to the Bobcat Theater, 8 p.m., check it out. You'll have a lot of fun. And before we get into our first topic, you know what, Sarah? I'm actually going to do this because we aren't into any topics, so I'll answer this question. And the reason I'll answer your question, what is your favorite Five Nights at Freddy's character? And she's asking this to all of us. And from what game of Five Nights at Freddy's? Honestly, I've never played them, but I can say that Bonnie the Bunny is our favorite because Bonnie the Bunny videos on our YouTube channel do phenomenally well. So for that completely monetary reason, Bonnie's my favorite. Anybody else have a favorite?
Mercenary, but understandable.
I tried it. I did it in a stream. I was terrified. It was like the most horrible, like 45 minutes to an hour of like everything I streamed. I don't remember anything. I'm so sorry.
All right. Well, there we go. So I have an opinion. Our first topic. Speaking of video games, you may have seen that. That is, in fact, the announcement character of the first DLC that will be coming out after Mortal Kombat 11 is released, and it is Shang Tsung, and it is designed, as you can see, on the person who played that character in the Mortal Kombat movies, and that is, of course, and I'm going to screw up his Japanese name if I'm not reading it, Kari Hiroyuki Tagawa. He's an amazing actor. If you haven't seen him in Man in the High Castle, go watch that. He's incredible. Everybody in that's incredible. But they designed this version of Shang Tsung to look like him, and he's doing the voice.
That's officially video gameception.
That's true. That's true. That's a couple of layers deep right there, folks. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to the game anyway. Oh, there's also, they did make another announcement about the game, and that is, in the core release, when it does first come out, Noob Saibot, or Saibo, will be playable in Mortal Kombat 11 right out of the gate. So if you're a big fan of that character, there you go. Anybody named Noob's got to be good, right?
Do I remember correctly? I thought I saw Bethany posting something about MK11 at PAX. I know she's going to be there, sort of in an official capacity with them. But I can't remember. Did she post something about they have an announcement or they're premiering something? I could be totally misremembering.
I don't recall. I know they're going to be there.
Okay.
I don't remember specifically seeing an announcement about some sort of big reveal at PAX. It would be cool if there was, but I don't know that. So, hey, stay tuned, folks. Stay tuned to our social media channels. We'll be having Byron D. Zero is going to be doing a lot of social media posting for us all weekend. And if that pops up, twink, hopefully it'll be right there on our social media. But, so that's our first topic. Moving on to our second topic. This is going to look really confusing because it's a whole lot of mutants on your screen right now. The news is kind of about this in that that's an image from an upcoming crossover called House of X and Power of, they're calling it 10, although they use the symbol X. So screw you, Marvel, for making it difficult for us to talk about it. But the news of this is that it's Jonathan Hickman that's going to be writing these alternating week 6-issue miniseries that supposedly sets up the next big stage of the mutant world in Marvel Comics. And this is Jonathan Hickman who left Marvel 3 years ago saying he was done working for the big publishers. And he was only going to work on his own independent books with Marvel or his own independent with Image or his own independent publishing. So, boat payment need to be paid? Looking for that second house? Well,
Now we ain't cheap.
I don't know. I can't imagine just the idea of being allowed to sort of muck around with the mutant universe was enough to draw him back in.
It'd be enough to draw me back in, but
Well, yeah, me too. But I'm not Jonathan Hickman. I haven't he wrote all the Secret Wars stuff, the most recent one. So
all I've done is cosplay, so I'm just like.
Well, hopefully he doesn't kill off any of the favorite characters that you've cosplayed among the X-Men.
Oh, it's happened, and they've come back, and it's happened, and they've come back. So I get it.
That's the magic of the comic book world. Is anyone really ever truly dead beyond dead?
That is true. Now look at Phoenix. Look at Jean Grey. Anybody there in the chat? That's a good question. While we're going through the other topics here, who among any of the current mutant or the previous mutant world that is now dead would you want Hickman to bring back, assuming that's a possibility, assuming Power of 10 doesn't mean he just kills off everybody except 10 mutants, which would be pretty amazing.
I can't remember. It's so hard to keep up with. Is Logan dead these days?
Nope, Logan is around. So Logan is, you wouldn't know that this is a thing, that he is actually the regular aged Logan, because he was dead for a really long time. Well, a few years. But then there was Old Man Logan was in there.
Yep.
And then Laura, X-23, took over the actual name Wolverine. But then regular Logan came back from an alternate reality timeline. Anyway.
It's so... Comics make it hard.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you think that, Bendis brought back the original teenage X-Men into the future. Beast did this time travel thing and brought them forward. So there were 2 copies of all of the original team. Yeah. It's silly.
I can't keep up.
Sometimes, I hate the idea of the every 5 year or so DC complete resets. Sometimes a complete reset needs to happen.
Yeah, I mean, wasn't there an article the other day that DC kind of tacitly, kind of in no question said, yeah, that whole New 52 thing, bad idea, let's move on.
That it was like, oh, you made us work to try to justify that?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Wait, so Captain America wasn't a shield? I mean, a Hydra agent? What?
Oh no, they still say he was.
Do that thing, some of it were no, and some of it were all right, we'll work on it, and we did, and then they were like, we were just kidding.
Ghostly, greetings and salutations to you too, Natisha. We love Stranger Things as well, and we'll get to that later on, almost at the end. But so we'll move on from the Jonathan Hickman wants to make a ton of money. I mean, from the news that there's going to be a big summer crossover, and yes, I didn't get it. It's coming out this summer. 6 issues that are going to alternate weeks, so it's going to be a 12-week run from these 2. House of X and Power of 10. Jerks. All right, moving on to kind of what news? So they have cast the proposed series of The Dark Tower. They've cast Roland Deschain for this Amazon series that has not yet had a pilot order, by the way. And it is this gentleman, Sam Strike, who was the bad guy in Night Flyers, which nobody saw, but which is apparently why The Expanse is no longer on Sci-Fi, because this show had to happen. Don't
be bitter.
I'm not bitter. Okay, I'm bitter. Does this look like a gunslinger that's been wandering the wastelands for decades?
No. so.
It looks like he's,
He looks like he just got his learner's permit and he's leaving the DMV with a frowny face.
Exactly.
He's
Ghostly, I think he's going to do pretty well. You mean Sam Strike? Ghostly, are you referring to this casting of Roland Deschain?
Roland Deschain.
If so,
Yeah, we'll check back in.
If so, I mean, he's been in a couple of pretty solid series. Night Flyer's bad reception aside, just nobody watched it. Didn't mean it wasn't good. I'm sorry. I just picture the the lone gunslinger not as a 22-year-old emo kid.
No.
Yeah.
No. Read the book.
I mean,
nope.
Yep. Nope. In fairness, they do seem to be kind of canting this towards a much, or almost like a prequel, I read the first couple of books. I got kind of bogged down after a while and didn't read any later ones. So if they, if it jumped around in the timeline and later books went back to an earlier time before the first couple of books, I can see that. But I don't know whether this is just they wanted to go younger, so they're picking it up at an earlier time. It doesn't seem like it's entirely clear at this point.
Yeah. So Ghostly says, I agree they should have picked a bit older, but I do want to give them the benefit of the doubt. And I do too, and if Greg's point is correct, when in the first stories, before they actually get into the novels, in the first stories, he starts out clearly with a history. And if these stories in the series are going to be exploring his younger period as he built up that history so that they have the ability to write anything, I could buy that. I mean, I can see them casting a younger guy. Yeah. And that could be fun.
Yeah. Makes sense. Potentially. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt as well. I haven't personally seen him in anything, so I can't speak to, whether he's got the gravitas, if you will, for a character like this, because, Roland is there's a lot going on in that brain. He's not a frivolous character by any stretch.
No.
Not at all. So the only thing I've seen him in is Night Flyers, and even then only 2 episodes because I just wasn't interested after that. And he basically plays a chillingly psychotic, crazily powerful telepath that is being transported as a prisoner to another prison-like location on this ship.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. No point in getting
Ghostly,
into
again on the chat line makes a point. I'd love to see the actual backstory or history. What might be really fascinating, and again, this is very preliminary. This is kind of like early casting news. It doesn't even have a pilot order, as Rodney said. Would be if they did almost something akin to, starting with Star Wars Episode 4, going forward from the middle of the story and then jumping back. So maybe we'll get some of this backstory. Maybe they'll cast an older Roland, and there'll be some sort of back and forth or mix and match, and maybe it won't be entirely linear.
Maybe it'll be like the Disney Plus Loki series is going to be, where Idris Elba shows up and introduces a segment, and then it jumps back, and the entire show is about a younger version or a different version.
And all the fangirls are like, I don't care.
Well, that's true. That's true.
We're just there.
Give us more Idris Elba.
Of course, that would be a little weird. He would obviously have gotten an amazing tan between his youth and his older age. So,
wait, we talking about Idris Elba or Roland?
No, Idris Elba, and if this Sam Strike was in fact playing a younger version of Idris Elba.
All right.
So sorry that joke didn't work, folks. So. Nope. All right, moving on.
Fail.
Moving from the fail whale.
I killed that one.
And we're moving on to this. And you're wondering what that is. You might be able to gather from the artwork or the character art. But this is the first look at a graphic novel adaptation of The Handmaid's Tale. Coming out from Doubleday Books. If you get a chance to look at the... who had the exclusive preview? IO9, Greg? Yeah, IO9.
Yep.
If you guys get a chance to look at this, look at it. It's amazing, and it captures the feel of the book in a way to me anyway, in the way the awesome TV series didn't. Just looks really cool. Greg, are we going to be cosplaying anything from this?
I will dig our Handmaid group out of retirement for this. I'll even shave the beard again.
Ooh.
Although I did get a lot of very amusing comments as a large husky bearded handmaid. It made for a good at Dragon Con. It made for a good conversational opener, shall we say?
I remember that. Well, and I have to say, as someone someone who read it in 9th, 10th, 11th, and then in grad school,
Oof.
like this was a huge part of my studious upbringing. And I read it so many times and dissected it so many times that I actually have to say I haven't watched the show because I'm like,
So the show's really good. I would watch it. At times, I don't think it captures the impact of the book, but it has its own impact.
I get that,
Yep.
and I am absolutely here for everything it's doing. Every medium that it goes into, I am here for. And so I am absolutely going to go to this graphic novel and I'm going to go back to it. But because it was given to me at multiple points in my young life and my young adult life, it was part of my training. I love it. I love it completely. I want it to be everywhere. And I also love when Greg was cosplaying it.
We had a good group. We had my wife and our good friend as other handmaids, and we had the what do they call Patrick's character? He was walking around with his Scrabble board, disciplining people. Anyway, that was the year it debuted the first season. There were a lot of handmade cosplays, especially at Dragon Con. It was powerful. It was really powerful. I mean, we were a little tongue in cheek about it. Obviously, if I'm walking around with a beard, that's it's not canonical per se, but
sorry.
I love seeing pictures that have come out subsequently on Women's Day of like 30 or 40 handmaids leaving subway stations and joining the Women's March.
Yes. At the Women's March and at different times, this is the takeaway. However the form it's in, it is powerful.
Absolutely.
Another form that it's taking, and it's going to reach hopefully another audience who may not have access to it. It's on Stars, right?
No. Handmaid's Tale is on Hulu.
Isn't it?
Hulu.
Yeah, it's a Hulu original.
Streaming. Yep.
All right.
So looking at, sorry, go ahead. Didn't mean to interrupt you. So I was going to say, this exclusive IO9 look. If anybody on the chat is interested, go to io9.com or gizmodo.com. It's kind of splashed all over the place. The graphic novel apparently is published and will be released next week. The artwork
this week, according to this.
This week?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it's... Oh, okay, maybe the timing. So, very, very soon. The artwork is gorgeous. It's got a very pastel-y, watercolor-y feel that I think by taking the hard edges off the comic book form, I think that says something about the characters and about the story. And one of the things that I read about this, they were talking to the woman who adapted it for the graphic novel and did the artwork. She said, I specifically avoided watching the television series. I was a huge fan of the book, but I did not want their vision. Not to say that it's good or bad or anything. Just she didn't want the TV version, their vision of Gilead, to influence it. So it's really like a fresh take on the book itself, and hopefully, you know, it really carries a lot of that through. Because I haven't read it in quite a few years, but I remember being absolutely gobsmacked the first time I read it.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I read it when I was, well, when it came out, so it was in my late 20s or whatever. I can't imagine reading this when I was, you know, an impressionable tween or preteen. It would kill me. Um, but yeah, so, and this artist adapter is Renee Nault and is handpicked by Margaret Atwood among a whole bunch of portfolios that were submitted to her. So this has the stamp of approval, 100%. So I'm definitely going to be looking for this thing when it comes out.
Who worked on part of her first master's thesis with Margaret Atwood. Read this. Go, 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 go.
Go says go go.
Go says go.
Go.
Goodness gracious! I love it when that happens. But yes, go.
So maybe if we have a chance, we will all pick this up. We will all read it, and in several weeks we'll have a small segment after we've read it.
Exactly.
I like that. Let's do it.
All right. Cool. All right. Moving on to our next topic. That, of course, is the people who need to get in the robot. That is Evangelion, or many of the cast members of Evangelion. And the news is that the next movie, the fourth movie, or the fourth movie, I should say, the latest movie, let's put it that way, in the Evangelion franchise is currently in the process of getting its English voice dub recorded. And it will be released with the dub fairly shortly. The problem with this is that the cast members are not the cast members for the last three movies. I don't know that's a problem, but yeah, there's an awful lot of Sturm und Drang on the internet about the fact that that decision was made. As Ben Robbins, one of our team members, said that, you know, this was one of the first time he saw the dub of the first movie. It was one of the times when he realized that sure, dubs can actually work just as well as the Japanese voice cast with subtitles. So a lot of people are a little unhappy with that, but there are a lot of people who are really happy that it's getting a dub.
Mm-hmm. I'm somewhat ashamed to admit that I've never watched any of this series. The other thing that was part of this article, if I remember reading this correctly, was that it looks like Netflix is bringing the first one or two seasons, so maybe I will actually have an opportunity to catch up and not feel like shame.
So,
because by all accounts, this is one of the great anime series of all time.
So, as the meme says, girl, same. Haven't watched it before, frankly, because it doesn't stream. There is no streaming service where you can get this. So you either need to go to one of those unofficial places on the internet, or
we don't
which what?
Hong Kong?
Of which we don't talk about.
Of which we do not talk. Yeah, Hong Kong. Or you need to buy the box set, which is a decent down payment on, you know, a 4K TV. You know, it's not cheap. So Netflix paid a boatload, you know, a ton. I was going to say a bad word. A pile of money to get the rights to stream the entire 26 episode series. The oh my god, nobody understood my ending movie about the ending called End of Evangelion, and then the second movie, which has death in the word, which is just something death. Actually, I can't remember what it is.
And the last time I was around Evangelion, it was, I don't know if this is what we're talking about, it was anime completely. And with subs, or dubs, not subs, dubs, and that was a long time ago.
It still is. It's the same thing, and what Netflix is going to be doing is they're going to be streaming the original classic series, the one that you remember. Yeah, the anime series.
I will watch that for sure.
That must be that. Luminous on the chat popped in and said, "I recommend the Evangelion TV series as well as the box set." So that might have been what you were thinking of.
Well, so they're bringing back something from a long time ago, and that's exciting because that's bringing back a classic in like 10 years, right?
Longer than that. It's a 90s, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
I'm not that old.
Battleship Yamato, still awesome.
Let's see. The original series. And it might have been the 2000s.
I'll do a little digging while we're talking.
Yeah, do a little digging. But I know, looking at the animation style, if it was the 2000s, it was the early 2000s. Lumina says he watched it subtitled. I only watch subs. Almost only.
So
there are
Neon Genesis was a 26-episode series, 1995, 1995.
So I thought it was the 90s.
I think I remember that.
Yep. Yeah, so that's when the original series came out, and then the movies were later on when enough people had screamed and yelled, "I don't get the ending, what the hell?" Yeah, Luminous says, "I hear Evangelion was extremely influential." It was amazingly influential in putting adult themes into animes like mech animes. It was very influential in creating the new path of the mecha anime from that point.
Yeah, there were human interest stories. As you said, adult themes. It wasn't just like mech, go fight. It was like, here are the people behind it. Here are the people that run it. Here are the people behind the scenes. Here's how they interact. No, it was amazing.
It was. From what I hear, since I haven't seen it.
So, not to sidetrack things, but since you brought up mechs, have either of you guys or anybody on the chat seen Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix yet?
I have not yet.
No, it's popped up on my watch. No,
It's so good. It's stupid good. We had to it's so good that it's like, I think they did 18 vignettes, anywhere from 3 to 8 or 9 minutes. It's so good. We were like, nope, not watching anymore. Saving these for another night because we'll be here all night watching these if we just let it go to the next episode. There is an episode that mechs, with no spoilers, mechs feature prominently. I think you can say a thing that has robots in the title and it's animated. Mechs is not a spoiler. It's brilliant. It's really good. There's Maurice LaMarche does a voiceover on one of the episodes. He's brilliant. Chris Parnell has a tiny speaking part in one of the episodes. He just elevates anything he does animated voiceovers for.
Does he play a robotic accountant?
No.
Oh, okay.
I won't say what he plays. Suffice to say that cats, mechs, giant remote-controlled Tyranno monsters, they're all there.
Cool. All right.
Yep.
Time to move on to the next topic. Our next to the last topic is, and I know a lot of people have been waiting for this, Stranger Things 3. Woo! So the trailer dropped. It was awesome. It brings an awful lot of changes to the kids, to the community, to the nature of the horror. It looks really good. And they, in my mind, even in just this trailer, and if you haven't seen it, go see it, they amped up the nature of the comedy to be a little bit past just a bunch of Spielbergian kids doing their Goonies stuff, which is very funny, both first and second season, to some funnier gags. Right out of the gate, the very first bit in the trailer is one of the funniest scream takes I've seen in a long time. So check it out. Thoughts, folks?
Well, I'm not sure because I think there's been 2 now. making sure we've seen the right one. But one thing I want to say, where you said the kids, is that one of the things I saw in the trailer is that one of them, and I don't know if it's Mike or Will, it's probably Mike, says, "We're not kids anymore.
Yep.
I think we were going to do sit in my basement and play D&D forever." And that's like a theme, like they're kind of coming of age.
Yep.
And meanwhile, oh God, we have the two girls bonding. We have 11 and the Zoomer with the red hair.
Max.
Thank you. That. It looks right. It looks wrong. They have put some of our people in danger in that trailer, and you're just like, oh my God, I can't wait. This is literally my favorite series on TV. Literally my favorite series on TV. Even more than Game of Thrones.
It's
Really?
it's right up there. I would say it's pretty close.
I mean, I have seen you cosplaying the Night King.
No, nope.
That's
actually,
true.
They're the same. They're just different.
Fair.
That's fair.
They're the same.
And just a second, ... hello, Leo, hello, and Zero on the Gamer, hello. Welcome to the show. Greg, thoughts?
Looks pretty damn good. I'm gonna have to watch it again as soon as we wrap up here. It looks like they've subbed some of the kind of horror, doom and gloom colors and lighting for much more 80s laser tag, sort of a lot of bright purples and neon pinks, and visually it looks stunning.
Yeah. Well, if you just look at the image that I chose, even though this is just in one of their living rooms, the color saturation is deeper, and you're right, they've moved into that mid 80s. Well, Max is wearing like the rainbow sleeves and whatever the hell 11 is wearing. It looks like it's Balky Beltakamus.
Practically, it's either Balky or she's like channeling her inner Mork from Orc.
Exactly.
Oh my
With the high waisters and the suspenders, not to mention the bright neon yellow scrunchie with the top pony.
Oh yeah, yep. There's that.
I have to say also one thing that's really different about this is that for the first time we're not seeing the focus on like Mike, Will, or Elle. We're seeing a full cast. We're seeing everyone, and we're seeing like the bigger picture for the first time in the previews. What's happening to the town?
I would like to say that they did a pretty good job of making that expansion in season 2. That season 2 was distributed the story by adding Max and her brother and some new characters and so on. Distributed the story among more of the kids than just Mike, Will, and Dustin for sure, and 11. But you're right. It looks like they're doing that. This is now a much larger team. It's not just the boys in their basement.
Yep,
yeah,
very true.
I feel I agree with you, Rodney, 100%. They took what was happening in season 2 with Steve being the babysitter, and then they had Jonathan and oh dear, the older sister, I forgot her name. But anyway, all the plot points, and he didn't give really a pinnacle to anyone. It was just like, here's what's happening.
Yep. Yeah.
And hopefully we will finally get justice for Barb.
Justice for Barb.
Oh dear.
Conspiracy theory, tinfoil hat, the John Carpenter thing-like monster that shows up in near the end of the trailer is actually Barb. So.
Very, very quick callback. I reached out to our official Nerd Caliber Evangelion maestro, Ben Robbins. The original series was released in Japan in 1995, and it came to the U.S. Subtitled in 1997.
Thank you, Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
That dude, Stranger Danger Things, exactly. And they are stranger, and there is danger. Zeron, have you all seen the reboot of Sabrina the Teenage Witch? I have. I think most of us have. We had lots of discussions about it, back when it was first airing. I loved it. I brought up my concerns about their treatment of Wicca, but not a whole lot of people in the Wiccan community are concerned, really. So I kind of gave up on that. And season 2 coming up. Coming up soon, actually.
That. I think I may have been in the minority. I felt like it needed to be 30% less campy or 90% more campy. One or the other. It like fell right outside any of that sweet spot for me. Didn't hate it, just didn't love it that much.
For me, it was like so many other things. Even going back to like old animes that I loved, like Bleach, where you're like, great anime, hate the main character. For this, it was like, oh, Sabrina, so good, I love it. Forget Sabrina. Let's focus on everyone else. Like completely. No, love it, love it, love it.
I like it.
Back. Yeah.
From what I've read, based on some of the previews they've shown, that it's actually getting darker. So it sounds to me, Greg, like they're going to be dialing back the camp a little bit.
All right. I'll give it another try.
And Zeron enjoyed it, as did we all. All right, moving on to our last topic. And this is just amazing. There's kind of like no other word to describe this. So that right there, folks, is Chella Man. Chella Man is a trans activist, is a transgender man, is deaf, is Jewish, is Asian, and has been cast as Jericho in the next season of Titans. Jericho, a child of Deathstroke, who is mute, not deaf, in the comic books, but communicates pretty much entirely through American Sign Language. Yay, holy shit, yay. What a casting.
That's pretty impressive that they actually found somebody to play the character that's the character is, and didn't, find somebody who's not deaf or, just happens. I mean, I know several people who know sign language. They're not necessarily who you'd want to cast for a role like that.
No.
So good on them for. Sorry, go ahead. I'm done.
No, I was just going to say, I've been sitting here like practicing my wording of perfect, and I'm just like, I'm actually not going to do it. Because I haven't done it in a little while. I don't want to offend anyone, but this is amazing. Amazing. This is so great. This is what we've been looking for, is the people who are the roles to play the roles.
Exactly.
For a
now,
long time.
I have a little bit of a problem with the people who just automatically disavow anybody else being able to play somebody of a particular type that they are not. It's called acting, folks. But if there are people to cast that fit that character, like Ruby Rose as Batwoman, then do it. And kudos to DC, DC TV of any kind. Kudos to Berlanti. Greg Berlanti Productions is doing Titans, is doing Batwoman, did all of the Arrowverse, all this, the DC television universe, making White Canary gay because the actress is gay. Just fantastic representation from Berlanti and his team, and this nails it right down. There's no question that they're serious about this, and I think it's fantastic. The character is portrayed with curly hair like Chella Man, but it's blonde in the comics. So I don't know if they're going to either bleach Chella Man or if they're just going to change the character look. I don't think it really matters. At this point, his dad is just gray, and has been since he was introduced in the comics. and his sister has like white hair. So,
that's that in the greater scheme of things, hopefully no one's going to glom onto that. I mean, the hair's not the right color. It doesn't matter.
oh, somebody will.
No, they did that with Starfire. They've done that forever.
Mhm.
Get
Mhm.
it. Get over it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Get
It's
over it.
that's clearly more important than good writing, good acting, good
Oh,
cinematography.
no,
That's so much more important.
A wig is not more.
I'm just messing with you, Go-Go.
I know. Like,
Hair color or nothing.
says the bald guy to the other bald guy.
Exactly. Skin is a hair color, right?
It is. Pale.
So exactly. So before we sign off, Zeron had one last comment about anime. He recently watched RE0, hated the main character of that show. That's the point. Subaru is one of the most awful people ever to lead an anime, and very few animes give a character the scope to be that just awful, and not evil awful. I mean, he's just he doesn't act bad. He doesn't do bad things like put people in danger. He's just a self-centered, awful jerk. And they give him a redemption arc that is so slow that it's worth watching him get a minuscule bit better by the end of the first season. Luminous, we did plug the PAX East panel. Thank you very much. And I hope you can make it too. Have a lot of fun. As I've mentioned in a couple of posts about the panel, 8 p.m. Bobcat Theater. The sun will not be an available light source for you to use. Not in New England at the end of March.
Unless you're the Flash.
Unless you're the Flash. So, be prepared to use interior lighting of the BCEC or bring your own lights. Outdoorsy Queen, hi, I'm a huge Stranger Things fan, as we have all demonstrated. So say we all.
Testify.
Wrong series, but you get it. Anyway, wow, we went almost an hour on 7 topics. God, it's all you, Greg.
We started a few minutes late.
We did start a few minutes late.
Yeah.
All right, folks, thank you all for joining us. Once again, for Go Incognito, check her out on social media. Check her out at her shows.
It's so easy to find me. All you have to look up is Gogo Incognito or Gogo/Incognito. I will be in Canada soon. Come see me. Come talk to me. I nerd out with anybody who wants to come nerd out with me.
Where
And
in Canada will you be? It's
Ottawa.
a big country.
Ottawa.
Lovely city.
And for Wonder Llama Photography, for our associate editor, Greg, the man with the blue, I'm Rodney Brown, editor-in-chief of Nerd Caliber. David Martin. David, welcome, and sorry you missed it all, but good night. Yes, Luminous, stay hydrated at both PAX East and Canada. Bye-bye.